In the village of Kijani, the air was filled with laughter. Drums beat and fires crackled, lighting the night sky. But while everyone celebrated, there was one sound no one noticed: the quiet cries of a child. My name is Amara, and I was that child, alone and lost. My mother had died during the dry season when the river shrank to a trickle. My father followed soon after, taken by a sickness that no healer could cure. When they buried him, I stood by the grave, feeling the world turn dark. No one held my hand. No one promised I would be safe. That day, my life began to fall apart. After my parents were gone, Mama Sefiu, my father's new wife, took me in. In front of the village elders, she said, "I will raise her as my own." The villagers nodded, believing her words. But inside our little hut, the truth was different. From the first night, her eyes were cold and hard when they looked at me. "You are not my child," she said, pushing me to the floor. I didn't say a word. I just nodded, swallowing my fear. Each morning, I woke before the sun. I filled heavy jugs with water from the river, even when my feet bled from sharp stones. I cleaned the hut while Mama Sefiu's children slept soundly. I cooked, washed, and worked until my hands shook. If I made a mistake, even a tiny one, Mama Sefiu punished me. Sometimes with harsh words, sometimes by taking away my food. "You eat too much," she would say, even when my stomach was empty. At night, I lay on the cold ground, feeling hunger curl inside me like a snake. Tears filled my eyes, but I wiped them away quickly. No one came to save me. The villagers saw my thin body and torn clothes. They noticed the bruises, but they looked away. "She is not ours," they whispered. I learned a painful truth: in the world of adults, silence is easier than justice. One evening, Mama Sefiu accused me of stealing food. "You want to kill my children with hunger!" she shouted. I tried to explain, but before I could finish, the stick came down. Again and again, it struck. That night, I crawled outside and lay beneath the stars. The moon felt cold, and I pressed my face into the dirt. "Mother! Father, if you can hear me, please don't forget me." The earth soaked my tears, and I felt utterly alone. The next day, Mama Sefiu sent me deep into the forest. "Bring back firewood," she said. "If you come back with little, don't come back at all." My heart raced as I entered the dark woods. I felt fear gripping me like a tight knot. When I could walk no more, I fell beside an old tree with roots like twisted arms. I cried, not loudly, but with all the pain I had carried for years. "I am tired," I said to the tree. "I have no one." Then, something magical happened. The wind rustled through the leaves, and I felt a presence around me. "Child, your pain is heavy," a deep voice echoed from the earth. I froze. "I have watched," it said, and something inside me stirred. With courage I didn't know I had, I spoke. I told the tree everything: the beatings, the hunger, the loneliness. When I finished, the voice was quiet for a long time. Then it said, "Return. What was planted in pain will grow in truth." I returned to the village before sunrise, my heart pounding. Soon after, strange things began to happen. The land near the old tree grew green, full of life. Fruits appeared where there had been none, and the river flowed stronger. But Mama Sefiu's home fell apart. Her crops failed, and her children grew weak. The villagers noticed, whispering among themselves. This time, they didn't turn away. The elders called a meeting, and I felt hope rise in me. When the elders confronted Mama Sefiu, the truth spilled out like water from a broken dam. The villagers gasped as her cruelty was revealed. I stood quietly, watching them realize their silence had allowed this to happen. Mama Sefiu was shamed and sent away from the village. The people lowered their heads, not just for me, but for their own silence. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, but the scars of my past still lingered. The village women took me in, wrapping me in kindness. They fed me, washed my wounds, and cried with me. For the first time, I felt safe. I knew I had survived, but the memories of my pain remained. I decided I would use my experiences to help others. As time passed, I grew stronger. I became known as the woman who survived when no one stood for her. Children listened when I spoke, their eyes wide with wonder. I shared my story, hoping to empower others who felt alone in their struggles. One day, a young girl came to me, her voice trembling. "I'm scared of my stepmother," she said. My heart ached for her. I took her hand and listened to her story, reminding her she was not alone. It felt good to connect, to share the strength I had found. With every story shared, I felt my past transform into strength. The village began to heal, embracing a sense of community. We held gatherings where we shared our experiences, reinforcing our bonds. I felt a sense of purpose, knowing I was part of something greater. One evening, I stood before the villagers, my heart swelling with pride. "We must be the voices for those who cannot speak," I urged. "We must listen." The crowd nodded, a newfound determination shining in their eyes. I felt the spirit of my parents urging me onwards. As seasons changed, laughter filled the air again. Children played freely, but I remained vigilant. I worked with the elders to create support systems for families in need, ensuring no child would have to suffer in silence again. Together, we built a strong community.